Hey there and welcome. We tend to think of success as this straight line, right? Like it's a final destination you just arrive at. But what if that's not it at all? What if it's actually the journey? And the craziest part is, what if the biggest setbacks, those super frustrating detours, are actually the most important parts of the whole thing? That's what we're diving into today, how one single moment that feels like a total failure can completely flip the script on what it means to live a fulfilling life.
So I want you to really hang on to that question as we get into our first story. It's this kind of wild idea, right? That something that feels like an absolute gut punch, a total loss, could actually be the one thing that saves you.
And that brings us to this incredible and totally true story from the self-improvement expert Dennis Waitley. It's all about a flight he was absolutely desperate to catch, but as you'll see, it was a very, very good thing he missed it.
Okay, so picture this. It's 1979, we're at Chicago's O'Hare Airport. That place is massive. Dennis Waitley is trying to get to Los Angeles for a lecture, and his schedule is just completely packed. Super hectic.
And because of that crazy schedule, he gets to the airport with zero time to spare. He is cutting it so close, basically in a full-on race against the clock.
So he's sprinting through the terminal, and he sees it. The one thing every single person who travels dreads. The gate's closed. The jet bridge, the tunnel to the plane, it's already pulling away from the aircraft. He missed it by just seconds.
Can you just imagine how frustrating that is? He's pleading with the gate agent. He's arguing, trying anything to get them to stop the plane. But nope, it's no use. He's just stuck there, absolutely fuming, watching his flight taxi away down the runway.
So he's just livid. Waitley storms back to the ticket counter, ready to file a formal complaint. But as he's standing there, just consumed by all this anger, a terrifying, deafening explosion rocks the entire terminal.
And in that one horrible instant, he finds out the plane he was supposed to be on, the one he was so angry about missing, was American Airlines Flight 191, and it had just crashed.
So what happened? It was a catastrophic mechanical failure. Right after takeoff, an entire engine just ripped off the wing. When that happened, it severed all the crucial hydraulic lines, the control cables. The pilots had literally no way to steer the plane. Tragically, everyone on board was lost.
And just like that, in one shocking, explosive moment, all of Waitley's white-hot anger just vanished. It was replaced by something so much deeper. That missed flight, the thing that made him so mad, it became the near-death experience that totally reshaped his perspective on everything. He actually said this about it later. And just think about this. He never even sent the ticket back for a refund. Instead, he keeps it pinned to his office bulletin board. That little piece of paper, which was a symbol of pure frustration, became this constant silent reminder of the incredible gift of just being alive.
So what do we take away from a story like that? It's incredible. Waitley's brush with death really gives us this powerful way of looking at what it means to live a life that's not just successful on paper, but one that's truly deeply fulfilling. And it really boils down to two key principles.
Think of them as two pillars. Pillar number 1, prioritize people. And pillar number 2, treat everyone, and yeah, I mean everyone, with empathy. So let's break these down.
All right, let's dive into that first pillar, prioritizing people. This flows right out of Waitley's huge realization that life itself is a gift, right? So the big question is, how do we actually use that gift? And this is where we see two really different paths you can take. On one hand, you've got what we could call the lonely pursuit. This is where work, or fame, or money becomes the number one thing. Everything else, friends, family, gets pushed to the side. And yeah, you might get the wealth and the status, but you end up totally alone. It's a hollow victory. But then there's the other path. The fulfilling path. This is where real, sincere connections come first. You make time for your partner, your kids, your parents, your friends. And that's what leads to a life that feels complete and truly meaningful.
Okay, so if prioritizing people is the what, then our second principle, choosing empathy, is the how. And to really get this, there's another amazing story from history that shows how a single moment of compassion can change not just a person's life, but the entire course of a conflict.
Empathy is so much more than just being nice. It's really the ability to understand and even share what someone else is feeling. It's what lifts us up from just a basic struggle for survival and turns our existence into something more, something almost divine.
So this story takes us to Bengal.
You have the local hero, a guy named Isa Khan, and he's up against the enormous Mughal army. To avoid a huge bloody battle, Isa Khan does something bold. He challenges the Mughal general, Man Singh, to a one-on-one duel to decide the whole thing.
So they're in the middle of this intense fight, and then it happens. General Man Singh's sword breaks. It just shatters. Suddenly, he's completely defenseless. His life is literally in Isa Khan's hands.
Now, Isa Khan could have ended it right there. I mean, win the duel, win the war, done. His enemy is at his mercy. But he does something nobody would expect. He stops the fight and offers Man Singh a new sword just so they can continue the duel fairly.
That one single act of honor and respect changed everything. Man Singh was so blown away by this that his whole attitude shifted. The hostility between them just melted away right there on the battlefield. A peace treaty was signed, and what's the result? Isa Khan's empathy didn't just save his enemy's life, it probably saved his entire kingdom from a massive, bloody war.
So, here we are with these two really powerful ideas, right? One came from a near-death experience, the other from a battlefield. So how do we actually bring them into our lives? Well, it really comes down to this, combining the wisdom of knowing what really matters with the character to actually act on it.
It's like this. When you take that lesson from Flight 191, the idea that every single day is a gift, and then you fill that day with real, meaningful relationships, and you treat everyone you meet with the same kind of empathy that Isa Khan showed to his enemy, that's when you design a life that's about so much more than just success. You build a life that is rich, full, and genuinely meaningful.
Because in the end, success isn't some destination you just arrive at. It's a journey. And we all face those detours and setbacks. So the real question is, which route are you going to choose? The one that leads to a hollow victory, or the one that leads to a truly fulfilling life?